Agriculture is one of the most strategic sectors in Rwanda's economic development. The country is investing in the horticulture sector to diversify from traditional cash crops, boost productivity, and increase exports.
The GDP of agriculture has doubled over the past, for example, 7 years, which is very important. So then, now agriculture contributes 25% of GDP as we speak, and it still occupies more than 64% of Rwandan households, which means it's the main even employer, if we can say. This GDP is generated because the market is very both food crops and export crops, but as you were interested to know about agriculture export has also has grown over time. You know, we used to know what we called traditional cash crops, or that means Rwanda used to export coffee, tea, and erythrium. That's the main traditional cash crop that we inherited from the colonial period. But later, as now we start looking around and started considering the country, we realized we have some other emerging commodities that we call non-traditional cash crop. And these ones include avocado. So avocado is now promising, is emerging commodity. Chili. So we have several markets across the globe about chili. So then, and as we grow, we discover more chili, fresh beans, maracuja, and other things. Now we are expanding export base.
A key player in the sector, Souk Farm specializes in exotic fruits and vegetables. They have been operating in the country since 2019.
Souk Farms is a grower and exporter of horticulture crops from Rwanda. So what we do is we specialize in exotics. So what is exotics? Exotic is items such as avocados, chilies, fine beans, passion fruit. Those are some of the things that make up the basket of exotics here in Rwanda. Souk Farms currently has operations on over 200 hectares of land across Rwanda. We also have employed over 900 people so far in the last 5 years. We currently produce about 13 different crop varieties. Of those 13 different crop varieties, our main varieties or our main crops are avocados, both the Fuerte and Hass, chilies, red chili, green chili, and the habanero peppers. Fine beans also. Fine beans is categorized into 3 categories, which is fine beans, extra fine beans, and super fine beans also. We also produce a lot of passion fruits. We produce sugar snaps, snow peas, carella. The list is quite endless, but we specialize predominantly in horticulture, but exotic horticulture crops.
Growing these crops requires extensive care to ensure quality is maintained.
Every single crop we are doing is under a sustainable irrigation system. If I use an example on this site where we are in Gatsibo, we've designed our irrigation system where we had our first dam on the lower part, which is 1,200 cubic meters to accommodate the water. Then we pump that water to this second dam where we are now. This is 2,000 cubic meters as the water reservoir. Then we also have 2 towers which are in 10 meters height to achieve the higher pressure. We pump water from this dam into those 2 towers. One is 180 cbm, another one is 100 cbm. By doing that, we make sure that we achieve the best way of irrigating throughout the whole crop cycle while using the minimum energy. The environment is getting affected by various chemicals, and globally, including Souk, we are focusing on reducing the spraying of various chemicals which would affect environment. Yet on the other side, we still need to get production, to get revenue to be able to survive. So one of the techniques we've learned is how would we get better production of better quality while using the possible minimum chemicals. It's called integrated plant pest and disease management, where there is a combination of various agricultural practices, including maintaining farm sanity throughout the whole production cycle, including selecting the best disease-resistant varieties, which are combined to make sure that we are growing crops without being affected by pests and diseases while we are spraying less chemicals. That has assisted us to reduce the spraying frequency from twice every week to once in a week. And we are looking forward to progressively improve it so that we would move to a level of spraying at least once every 2 weeks.
The critical part of the horticulture journey lies in managing the supply chain, especially the cold chain. The meticulous process ensures the quality of the crops is maintained from harvest all the way to the consumer's plate.
What's quite fascinating is from the moment the product is harvested up until it reaches the hands of the final consumer is 48 hours. And most people find that quite shocking because what typically happens is on day 0, the product is harvested in the morning. By the afternoon, it's transported to our pack house over here, as you can see, and it's pre-cooled. By day 1, it is then graded, packed, and sent to the airport by mid-afternoon. Flights to our main markets, such as Europe, take 8.5 hours directly from Rwanda. And to the Middle East, which is mostly UAE, takes 6 hours. So by the beginning of day 2, the product is at the airports in our target markets. Within hours, it's sent to our clients. Within hours also, the product is also sent to supermarkets. And then where the likes of yourself, myself, go and pick the product. So from harvesting to actually picking the product up in the main supermarkets, it's less than 48 hours. The cold chain management is by far the most important thing to ensure the quality is impeccable when it gets to the target markets.
So as I was saying, this is the reception area. This is where we receive all the materials we need in the pack house. Once the produce is already assessed, it's put on a transpallet. And I think here we can receive about 6 to 7 tons at once.
Like Souk Farms, Garden Fresh is a leading exporter of agricultural products. Established in 2015, the farm exports vegetables, fruits, and other produce. They are on track to hit a $2 million turnover thanks to their innovative agricultural practices.
Started exporting from 2016, and now we started doing 2-3 tons a week. But as we speak now, we are at 15 tons a week. Then we export to mostly Europe. Like 80% of our market is in Europe, UK, Netherlands, then Belgium. But we are also doing exporting to Middle East, especially avocados and some other fruits like passion fruits. All products we do, they are sensitive products. They are fresh from farm to the customer. Part of the technology starts from the production. So we are not just farming from any farm. So we have to make sure we farm where we have irrigation, a very good irrigation, not just pumping water on the field. So we have to, where our farms are, we had to invest in a perfect irrigation. Some of our farms will have a pivot irrigation, some of our farms will have drip irrigations. All those will have all those type of irrigation. They help us to make sure we increase yields and protect our produce from being affected by diseases.
Normally, we ensure that proper handling is done at each stage. When you look at these standards we are implementing, Global BRC, it's talking all about how to harvest, the right equipment you need to use, the PPs you need to be putting on, so the correction time, correction method, how things are packed, the temperature regulation, loading and off-loading, so that all those things we implement, they tackle on the quality perspective that is going to avoid damage on the way. Also at pack house, we need to make sure our produce is stored at the right temperature. It is talking about how to process, when. So all those things are covered within the standards we implement. So normally, if you follow up all the procedures, at the end of the day, you have the product at the market in a good condition.
To ensure this produce reaches the market fresh, logistics such as air cargo and sea freight play a crucial role as the main supply routes. Both Souk Farms and Garden Fresh are excited to see things moving in the right direction for Rwandan culture.
When we started, facilities we have today were not there. When you look at from the cargo, there were no cargo freights. Rwanda was not having many flights to our market. So we were struggling. We were struggling from mastering the cold chain, because what we do is fresh, so which means you need to preserve cold chain from the farm until you export. So at that time, it was not really easy. We knew, but we thought, let's build that capacity until we become competitive to the international market. The cargo, which has been brought recently, mostly is operating in the Middle East market. And we knew that it's a busy market and it's a busy route. We believe it's not enough, but we are seeing that actually that cargo is releasing pressure from the only passenger plane which were going to Dubai. So currently we see more space availability to that route of Dubai, and we appreciate that as well. So we hope actually in the future, maybe Rwanda could also deploy cargo freighter to Europe or to other destinations.
Without Rwanda as our main cargo partner, this will also be quite a big challenge. Rwanda now flies 6 times a week to UK and about 4 or 5 times a week to Europe, which is Brussels and Charles de Gaulle. So without access or without a route to markets, of course this industry would also be still quite at its infancy. And the good news also is now we're seeing Rwanda beginning to increase their capacity even beyond what they have now. So within a year to 2 years, you'll find that the frequency of flights to our main markets would also continue to increase. As you know, Rwanda has also acquired a few cargo aircrafts in the last 2 years also. That is also quite important because it creates the capacity we need for exports. So in short, I think the industry is heading in the right direction.
Innovation, improved facilities, and market expansion, Rwanda's horticulture sector is poised for a bright future, further solidifying its role as a crucial contributor to the country's agricultural exports.
Export about 13 crop varieties. I think that's something that we can easily increase to 30 to 40 crops within a year to 2 because the climate is perfect for horticulture. Rwanda currently exports mostly vegetables, but there's a lot of potential for exporting other horticulture crops such as nuts. There's a lot of macadamia and cashew nuts grown in Rwanda. I think there's a lot of opportunity to expand that also. There's a lot of opportunity for herbs, as an example. There's a lot of opportunity for flowers also. So I think the opportunities are quite limitless in terms of expanding the growing capacity in Rwanda. What else? I would say regional trade. We as Africans, we always typically look to Europe and the Middle East and Asia markets as our primary markets. But what we forget is there's also a huge demand for the things we produce locally. So to give you an idea, we grow strawberries and avocados in Rwanda. But what's quite interesting is those same strawberries and avocados are imported in West Africa from Europe. So instead of products doing a round-trip journey to Europe to then be imported back into Africa, there is a lot of opportunity to break those inefficiencies and supply the West African community directly from Rwanda.
Infrastructure like roads, internet, electricity, all those will help us to actually grow the sector. And once we have other players like airlines and Rwanda increasing the fleet, I think we can reach far in this sector, far from where we are.